to another episode of the Points of Articulation. My name's Dave, and if you're new to the channel, welcome everybody! Today we have a special review. I will be taking a look at the Star Wars Titanium series, Outrider, released in 2009. This here is one of the holy grails of the collection. It's right up there with the Nebulon-B frigate or the Mon Calamari cruiser. I've been after this thing for a very long time, and thanks again to one of my viewers, Mr. Cruz, for the great deal he gave me on this vessel. So if you guys love the Titanium series, in the bottom, thank Mr. Cruz, because without him, I would not have this ship in my collection, and I am beyond ecstatic that this is finally in my grasp, and I can't wait to crack this baby open. As you can tell, it was previously open, but when I got this from Mr. Cruz, I left it in the package because I want to see it when you guys do. One of the things I love to do is I get ships that many people don't have, and then I review them for everyone to see. Oh, this is going to be really amazing. I cannot wait. So, let's take a quick look at the box, and then we're going to go through our normal review as always. So sit back and relax, because here we go. Okay, grabbing this real quick, let's start with the bottom. We have our Titanium series diecast, the Outrider with this beautiful art. You can see the cockpit over here, looking amazing. This is back when they cared about packaging. Times are coming back though. The Black Series is doing good with that. Diecast metal, includes display stand, Hasbro. Again, some beautiful art here. Star Wars on a sticker for ages 4 up. Oopsies. Here we have the Outrider. Oh my god, I can't wait to open this up. That looks amazing. Pretty dope. And on the back, we have all our copyright crap. We can see Micro Machines, Galoob, Hasbro. Very nice stuff. And then this cool write-up. Look at that ship. Very nice. So let me get a good shot of this section, and I'll read it to you guys. Alright, the Outrider. Manufactured by Corellian Engineering Corporation. Model YT-2400 light freighter. Cargo capacity of 75 metric tons. And it had a length of 21 meters. For its weapons, it had laser cannons and concussion missiles, and for the affiliation, Smuggler. Nearly as famous and nearly as fast as the Millennium Falcon, the Outrider filled its own quiet niche in the struggle against the Empire. Though its pilot Dash Rendar was a free agent, his sympathies lay with the Rebel Alliance, and he often did pro bono work for the Rebels. He recouped any losses by ensuring valuable Imperial goods fell behind coolant tanks, or disappeared into secret compartments. So pretty cool. Nice little write-up there. So now let's crack this bad boy open. So here we have the Outrider out of its package, and all I could say is, it's beautiful. I love the paint, the mold. Sure, the scaling might be a little off here and there, but on the whole, I'm very happy with this particular piece. Now, even though it's called the Outrider, its actual name is a heavily modified YT-2400 freighter. Similar to the Millennium Falcon, as you can tell, they share many different components, such as the heat exhaust vents, the engine section, the turret, and the cockpit, which is only on one side. So, you know, they're very different, but they share many elements, and I kind of like that about the vessel. So this ship was first seen in the Star Wars Shadows of the Empire line. It began with the novel in 1996, and quickly branched off to comic books, action figures, and so on and so forth. But most importantly, and the place where I remember seeing this ship the most, was in the N64/PC game, Shadows of the Empire, where we follow the Outrider and its pilot Dash Rendar on their journey to try and hunt down first Boba Fett, but then, you know, hunting down Luke Skywalker and all that stuff. Amazing storyline. I really recommend, if you have the time, read the novel, get it on audiobook, play the video game, read the comic. It's all a great story all together. It's the movie without a movie, and I love it. Just thinking about playing as this particular ship, shooting asteroids in the turret seat, or in the final climactic battle against Black Sun and the Empire. Great stuff. According to the graphics, you know, But back then, in the mid-90s, playing this game, it blew my mind. I thought it was the greatest thing ever. It's like if you play GoldenEye. It looks great, but now play it 20 some odd years later and you're like, the graphics are all right, but it's not what I remember at all. It's the same thing with Shadows of the Empire. It looked fantastic during the time because during that time period, it was the best they could do. And I love it for that. But moving on, this ship was not just seen in the video game, but it also trickled off into other projects. If you have a keen eye, you could see this particular vessel flying over Mos Eisley in Star Wars A New Hope, the Special Edition. It was also seen in Star Wars Bounty Hunter, a video game featuring Jango Fett. And finally, it was also seen in an episode of Star Wars Rebels, which the design of the ship was a little different than what I remember, but it works, and I really like that episode seeing this ship. So for the size of this particular vessel, we're looking at about 2¼ inches long and a little under 3 inches wide. So it's a nice bulky vessel, and I think it looks great. So we have a lot to cover today. We're going to take a quick look at the mold, the paint, put it on a stand, compare it to some other vessels, and also some rare vessels, so stick around. And then we'll be done. So let's get started. And now looking at the mold on this baby, just like in all my other reviews, I will go over all the major points of the ship. Now we'll get a nice close-up look to see the fine details. So where to begin? So much to talk about, so little time. Let's start here. We have our cockpit, which has a beautiful window configuration. A little different than what you're used to, but I dig it. Now, right here in this area, we also have a missile launcher. There should be 2 of them, which is very nice. Coming back, we have our 2 pylons, also known as brace arms, which are really cool. They connect the cockpit section to the main body. Speaking of the main body, right over in this section, the forward part, we should have sensors and cargo holds, which is very nice. We have our turret, which actually moves, so let's get a quick look at that. Now, when it comes to the turret, it can spin all the way around, which is pretty cool. Nice touch. Awesome. Love when they do moving parts. On this section right here, we have our, well, it depends on what source material you're reading. It's either a docking ring or it's an escape pod, and I'll show that to you real quick, which looks pretty cool. Coming to the aft section, we have 3 exhaust vents, similar to the Falcon. We have our engine in the back, not really molded, but it's painted nice. In the center, we have our entry ramp, which just all folds open in a video game, and you can just go right into the center. On the bottom of the vessel, we have a total of 4 screws holding it together. Copyright crap, peg port for the stand. Sadly, because of this, we have no bottom turret, but it is what it is. You can see some beautiful detailing, and one of the coolest things is it's 100% painted. Both the top and bottom. They really went above and beyond with this piece. But all in all, a fantastic looking ship that does it for all the major key components. So now, let's have a closer look. And now having a closer look, we begin with the bottom of the vessel and work our way to the top. You can see where the engine section is. It's beautifully molded. I like the designs here. We have our copyright crap, screw hole, and look at all this molding. Nice, unique sections filled with line work for the paneling. This is really cool. And as you might guess, nothing is flat on here. Everything is raised up, has its own little shapes. Pretty awesome. I think this came out great so far. But really cool. Now, one thing I really like about the main body here is we have paneling with recessed areas. And it's not a normal recess where it just sinks in a little bit. No, these are deep. Like, look at that. It goes right into the main body there, and we can see some molding. It's more pronounced in the front. But I love it. Pretty nice. We have our center section, which sadly it has no turret. But look at all the mold here and the line work, the little raised areas. That is awesome. Moving over here, we have our entry ramp, which is all folded up. And it looks cool. Coming to the front, we have one of my favorite sections, this area right here. Let me turn it for all of you at home. And just looking in there, you can see some canisters, hoses, pipes. Little squares and rectangles, which looks amazing. Nicely done, and it is deep. Just look how far all that goes down there. Really nice. And on top, again, beautiful line work, screw. And then we have some molding sections raised up, which looks great. Looking at this component, beautiful details. Again, as you can see, nothing is flat. Everything pops on there. We have some recesses, some unique molding as well. Fantastic stuff. Looking at the pylons, you can see some nice molding. Looks like support beams, which looks great. Line work, screws, and then we have some molding here and there. Beautiful. And then we have our cockpit module, which looks amazing. We can see some fine line work, little raised areas. Beautiful molding on here. I like it quite a bit. For the back, you know, it's basically just a seam line. Very light molding, to say the least. Looking at this side, you see how cool that looks. Very nicely done. We have the front looking good. Love the windows here. And then we have the top with that beautiful molding yet again. Great stuff. Really nice. Now for the interior here, we have these like little pipe sections, which from certain points of view look like they hide the seam line just a bit. So that was a really cool addition there. You can see how the seam line is underneath that molded section. So pretty cool. They didn't need to do that, but it's a nice little touch. For the interior, you can see the seam line going right through. It is what it is, especially since it's mostly die-cast anyway. So back to this section in the back. I'm going to turn it around. Here's our engine section, and as you can see, there was no molding at all. They just painted blue and white. But you know what? Doesn't look too bad. Coming to the side, a nice recessed area right there, looking dope. As you can see, it's really deep in there. It's like teeth almost. Excellent. Looking here, we have some mold in there. It's a little hard to see with the paint, but it's there, looking good. And then the whole front of the ship is this nice recessed trench with these rectangle sections that look like teeth. So pretty cool. So you can see the seam lines in there, looks kind of flat, and then comes to a point by the cockpit. Well done. Coming to the top, we can see some beautiful line work again. Never stops. Some little raised sections here and there, but beautiful. Coming to the main body, again, we have these canisters and some beautiful detailing in that recess. Looking amazing. Beautiful line work, raised sections. The detailing doesn't stop. And then we have this section here, which, look at it, just riddled with stuff, and this is amazing. I like this quite a bit. Very detailed, really cool. And then we have our aft section. Now looking back here, we can see our 3 heat exhaust vents, which are recessed in, graded. We can see the support beams. That's fantastic. Again, all this beautiful detailing, especially at the top where my thumb is. Amazing stuff. Again, recesses on the sides. Just beautiful. I think this came out amazing. And looking at it like this, you can see all those heat exhaust vents are raised up. All the detailing coming down the back. Nothing is flat. Everything is popping. Such a cool piece. We have the top of our entry ramp on this side, which looks kind of cool. Very similar to the bottom. Little differences here and there, but the centerpiece is similar. We have our center section, which has nice line work. Little raised sections here and there. And it looks great. Here we have our turret, which is 2 barrels. And look at the detailing on there. It would have been cool if the barrels were separated, but oh, I think that looks great. From the side, you can see the detail on there. Pretty cool. Very nice. And like I mentioned, that can rotate, which is pretty damn awesome. Nice. And that does it for the mold. Hopefully I covered everything. You know, having a look at this ship, I think it looks great. The only gripe I might have with it is that the main body seems a little too big for the cockpit. Like this should be out a little more, or this body should be a little smaller. But besides that, I love it. I think it looks great. The mold is exquisite. Lots of little hidden details here and there. So you know what? Now let's look at the paint. And now looking at that paint on the Star Wars Titanium series Outrider, this baby features about 10 to 11 different colors, and I think they did an amazing job with this. So let's start going through the colors. The main color of this ship is a nice light tan, very reminiscent of what we saw in the video game and other media. In the game, it's more of a whitish color, but whatever. They tried to make it nice and gritty here, and I think it looks awesome. Now, on top of that, we have a slew of different colors. So let's go through them. First of all, we have this nice rusty orange all throughout the main body, even on the bottom. And it looks great. Moving on from there, we do have some yellow. Nice golden yellow. And that's, again, scattered throughout the ship, which looks pretty cool. Moving on from there, we have some blue. Yes, blue. And that's also on the bottom as well, which looks great. Now, those are basically the paint colors that are on this thing. The bright colors, I should say. Everything else is somewhat darker. We have our grays, such as the recessed areas. We have light gray and dark gray scattered throughout, which is very nice. Again, in all the trenches. Looking pretty good. Now moving on from there, we do have white and blue for the engine section, which came out pretty good for not being molded. I think they did an amazing job. Moving on from there, we do have black for right here, our vents, and we have glossy black for the cockpit windows. So very nice. And despite it being a very unique organization of black here, the paint is very nicely done. No real bleeding or smearing. I give them kudos for that. Now, on top of all those colors, we do have a dark tan dry brush. As you can see, it's covering all these little doodads here. Looking pretty good. It gives it that nice used look, like the ship's been lived in. And I kind of dig it. You can see it briefly on the bottom here and there. But the bottom's a whole separate beast because we have what looks to be a mixture of a dry brush, like right here. And then we have our wash, which is nice and dark, almost a black. And it fills in all these nooks and crannies and really brings the engine section, at least, to life with all these little hidden doodads. And the thing about the wash and the dry brush here is, as we saw looking at it with the white background, the ship is a light tan or very off-white, but you know, the details could be lost in the sauce. So having the highlighted sections with this nice wash or dry brush really brings the detail to light, and I dig it for that. All in all, pretty damn good. So that's everything I have to say about the mold and the paint. This is a great looking vessel and painted almost perfectly in my opinion. So now sit back and relax because I'm going to put this baby on a stand and compare it to some other super rare titanium vessels. And just like other titanium series ships, it comes with a cool stand. Peg it in the port like so. And just like that, everybody, you are good to go. And now for a special size comparison section with the Outrider seen in the center, I have some other rare titanium series vessels. Starting from the right and moving to the left, we have the Malevolence, Mon Calamari Cruiser, also called the Liberty, the GR-75, the Rebel Transport, the Nebulon-B escort frigate, or the medical frigate, and also the Imperial cruiser. So these are some great looking vessels, and I think I reviewed most of them, so check the links in the description below. For an added bonus size comparison with the Outrider seen in the center, I have more rare Titanium series ships. On the right, we have the Trade Federation Lander, we have the Imperial Lander, and then finally on the left, we have the Twilight Rigger. Some awesome looking ships here, and most of these have moving parts, which is a nice touch. And you know what? Let's just keep comparing it. On the right-hand side, we have the Titanium Series Red Leader, looking pretty good. And then on the left-hand side, we have the Millennium Falcon. And you can see how, even though they look completely different, there are many aspects which are the same. But they both look cool nonetheless. And for our final size comparison today with the Titanium Series Outrider, seen on the right-hand side, on the left, we have the X-Wing version of the YT-2400 freighter. And looking at these both, it's night and day. Yes, they're similar. Yes, technically they're the same ship. But Fantasy Flight Games did an amazing job with the detail here, making it as accurate as possible from sources they had. And you could tell, there's major differences here, not just size, but paint applications and mold. But we're going to be taking a look at this ship very soon. But all in all, amazing looking ships here today. And again, if I reviewed any of them, check the links in the description below. And that does it today for my review of the Star Wars Titanium Series Outrider, released in 2009. Now, crews, thank you again for this great opportunity to have this vessel. I am so proud to have it in my collection. Even more happy to share it with the rest of the world. So thank you very much, my friend. It means a lot to me. Now, moving on from there, I know some people are going to have some gripes with the ship. For example, maybe the proportions are a little off, or the engine section in the back isn't exactly molded as some people might like. But putting those two things in the back of your head, in my opinion, this is a great piece. And after this wave, the Titanium line ended, sadly. And they went out with a bang. We had the Nebulon-B frigate, we had this, and a couple other great ships like the Malevolence. And they've really put everything they had into this last wave, if you want to call it that. And this ship is a testament to that. We have a beautiful, unique mold. They never repainted this, they never remade it. It just is, and it's great. We have some beautiful recesses, panel lines, modules. The heat exhaust vents look great, and the cockpit section looks amazing. And to top it all off, we have a rotating turret on the top, which can freely spin all the way around in a circle. And that is great. It really is. Moving on to the paint, we have about 10 to 11, maybe even 12 colors working together. And I think it's awesome. We have that nice light tan, and then we have the yellow, the dark orange, the blue, working together with those grays, the blacks. And what really ties everything together is this nice dark tan dry brush on the top. And we have a black wash on the bottom. And what that does is, as I tried to explain before, is the ship is mostly white, or a very light tan. And if you're looking at it, and for example, we have a white background here, all the detailing could be lost. And what that wash does is, it gets into the nooks and crannies, or lays on top of raised surfaces, and makes our eyes see all the raised textures on here, making the detail pop. And that is one of the best parts of this ship. I love all the detailing they put into this. And the paint just works with the model, which is really rare. Fantasy Flight Games does a great job with their washing, working with the paint and the model itself to give us something special. And you could tell Hasbro was on their mark here. They were trying to do a paint job that didn't cover the mold, but worked with it. And that's very important. And this is a titanium ship, so as always, it does come with a cool stand to help it blend in with the rest of the line. And that's everything I have to say about Dash Rendar's Outrider today. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button. And if you'd like to see new videos every week, subscribe. Again, to all of you out there, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to watch my content. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time. Bye, everybody. And here's an added bonus for anybody who's watching the end of this episode. Here we can see the Kenner Outrider mixed with the Hasbro one right here in my hand. And you can see the major size difference there. So pretty cool, right? May the force be with you. Brett.